you and I understand the significance of who we are according to the word of prophecy. Hi, this is Barry Phillips with 10-Minute Torah, Day 3 of Eki, and we continue now into chapter number 48. A lot of significant things taking place here. Let's focus on the opening portion. In verse number 1, we read, "And after these events, it came to be that it was said to Joseph, 'See, your father is sick.' And he took with him his two sons, Manasseh and Ephraim. And Yaakov was told, 'See, your son Joseph is coming to you.' And Israel strengthened himself and sat up on the bed." Let's pause there for a few moments. The word sick here. Yaakov, the physical man, is declining in his health. The Hebrew word used here for sick is chala, a het, a lamed, a hey. Now, the translation or the definition of this word seems to be rubbed, to be polished until something is smooth. That is, that which is strong has become worn down. So it's something in decline, or something that's been abrased until it's been reduced or made smooth. A het is a fence, that which separates or divides. A lamed, among many definitions, one is that it is a shepherd's staff that provides direction and guidance or teaching. And then, of course, the hay is a man with his hands in the air, signifying, hey, pay attention, something is revealed, something is important here. So sickness can be then understood according to the symbols of the letters to become separated or divided and then directed toward revelation. Perhaps then it is when the physical man is diminished that the spiritual man can become strong. I think it's an easy understanding here that you and I are oftentimes too involved in our physical self. Maybe I should say we are so involved and our physical awareness, our physical surroundings, comforts, conveniences, needs, distractions, that we fail to give preeminence and the prominence necessary to discern properly in the last days to our spirit man. I will wax personal here just for a brief moment. And the last visit that my wife and I had with my parents prior to my father's death, my dad took the occasion of our being there to take me out in the yard of our home, the home that I was raised in. And he said to me, "Son, I want to show you the boundary markers." He'd never done anything like this before, so it was strange to me. But I, as a son, dutifully followed my father throughout the yard, and he took me from one corner to the next and showed me a metal post, a stub driven into the ground, some sort of marker at each location. He told me the story of buying this property and realizing that it had an odd angle to one of the sections, that he went to the landowner next door and asked to buy an additional section to square up the property lines. Now, it's not huge. It's a small lot. But nonetheless, he said to me, "I want you to know the boundary markers." I find it of great significance to me that one of the last things that my father did was to show his son the boundaries. I will never forget that. And obviously it was for more than just a physical boundary of family property. He was trying to say something to me in the spirit, whether he realized it or not. While we were not aware obviously to us in the aftermath of things, we realize Dad evidently was aware of some diminishing things in his body, and he was becoming much more aware of things in the spirit. Our last conversations over the last year or so frequently involved him holding out his hand and pointing to his fingers as he recounted the names of those that he used to know in the local family church. And so these people I knew as a child, I remember them. I remember their stalwart walk. I remember their acts of worship. I remember the times in the presence of the Holy Spirit, the Ruach HaKodesh. And I recalled their lives and their walk before our Messiah. And Dad would name them and talk about all of his former peers that were now gone. Where did they go? Wherever it was, my father began to long to be with them. He was being rubbed down and made smooth in the flesh, but his spirit was coming to revelation. In this instance, we find that Yaakov is told that Joseph is coming, but it's not Yaakov that gets up in the bed and sits up. It's Israel. Israel, the man of the Spirit, the man of the covenant, the titled man, the giver of sons, the establisher of a nation, is sitting up on his bed. And he begins to announce to Joseph how that El Shaddai met him at a place called Luz. Now, Luz is the ancient name for this location, but it's the same location that Yaakov then called Bethel, the house of Elohim. And he says, El Shaddai met me. El Shaddai is significant in that it is the covenant name that Yah announced to Abraham when he said, I am giving to you the land and your seed shall have it. He gives his covenant to Abraham's seed with the promise of inheriting the land. This is the Bekira, a very specific blessing that man does not give to another generation. Yah, in the role of El Shaddai, he who is sufficient, he who will see to it. He is the one who can give this blessing. El Shaddai then is also involved in the life of Yitzhak as he announces him to his son Yaakov in Bereshit 28. This one is the one who gave to Yitzhak the Bekira and who met Yaakov as Yaakov recounts the story of how that El Shaddai was the one who gave him the Bekira, and he announces the details of the Bekira. He's about to bless Joseph, but he doesn't have the capacity, the right, or the standing to give the Bekira to Joseph. In the next chapter, we're going to see he pronounces a father's bracha upon all of his sons, each in their turn and each to the specificness of their need. So what is it that he is announcing that he is favoring Joseph with? He gives him a blessing that we haven't discovered yet. It's called the Bekorah. It is the blessing of the double portion. This is the portion that is given to the eldest son. Now, Reuven is his actual firstborn son. But as the firstborn son of the primary bride, Rachel, Joseph is now elevated and he is given a double portion. The way this is affected is that Joseph's two sons, Manasseh and Ephraim, are brought up now to son-level status instead of grandsons. As Reuven and Shimeon, they are now established. Instead of Joseph inheriting one portion, through his two sons, now he receives a double portion. This is significant because out of one of these sons, an even greater blessing seems to be unfolded. We'll talk more about that tomorrow. Until then, shalom.